most storied programs in women's college basketball, and off we go. And it will be Paldo, the freshman from Patterson, New Jersey, with the first touch. And the way that Tennessee plays, Sarah, would expect some turnovers, and right away, it's UConn with the first swipe of the game.
And Tennessee is vulnerable. That is going to be one of the biggest keys of this game with the ways Huskies turn opponents over.
Well, they turn it over, they can cough it up like they did there. Baseline drive and an early bucket for the senior AZ Fudd. So UConn 22-0. They have been blitzing everybody in Big East play by 25 or more points. They have not been challenged since early this season. Their only single-digit game was a 3-point win over Michigan. Janiyah Barker off the mark from deep. Everybody battling for the rebound. Look at KK Arnold. Mask on with that broken nose a couple of months ago, and it's going to result in a tie-up, and the ball belongs to UConn. Well, just the second season for Kim Caldwell, but she's the only person that's over 500 in her career against Gino Auriemma because she's 1-0 after beating him last year.
She has got a fierceness and a fiery way in which she approaches this game. Tremendous amount of winning through the course of her career. Yeah, it's a good way to put it. But overall, for Coach Caldwell, she understands and her girls understand exactly how they want to play. Very systematic, and you see a lot of three-point looks.
Speaking of three-point looks, AZ Fudd, one of the best shooters in the country, has the first 5 of the game. And then she gets a steal. Out of bounds, and it stays with UConn. What a start for the Huskies.
And this is the reason why UConn is so incredible through the course of this season. It's not just about their efficiency offensively, of which they lead the country. It's the defensive side of things for Gino Auriemma. Yeah, you can look at some of the numbers there. We could spend this entire day talking about his accomplishments. 12 national championships, 41st season as UConn head coach. They look to hang banners, and this team understands that. That's why they come out with an edge. Feels like every single day, but this is another big test.
Shot is short for Sarah Strong, but a foul on the rebound, and that's going to go against Tennessee.
And that's where the balance is for Tennessee, understanding coming in as the 15th ranked team. And to their credit, they've had a tremendous start to their season as well. As I mentioned, they started SEC play 6-0. They had won 7 straight games prior to that loss to Mississippi State.
Kim Caldwell said that was their most disappointing loss of the season by far. She just felt they were never ready, never in that game. And they're having trouble right now containing AZ Fudd. My goodness. Fudd 7, Tennessee nothing.
She can pour it, and she understands how to get to her spots, the efficiency of which she's able to attack an offense by her looks and by her ability to score at all 3 levels.
And Tennessee starting cold. Spearman off the mark. And we talk so much about Sarah Strong, but Fudd is 3rd in the conference in Big East play and scoring as well. So they have so many weapons. Arnold driving kick. Here is Strong. Driving, has it stripped, taken away by Latham.
It's a nice defense by Latham. And for Tennessee, too, just to settle in a little bit, taking the atmosphere and get themselves into the type of offensive style that they're looking to settle into. But it's been such a challenge. And we're talking about the defensive side, but offensively, AZ Fudd, she just goes to work here off of an excellent screen by Sarah Strong, sets it up, gets the bounce to go. Those bounces weren't dropping early in the last game for UConn. This time they are. Sweet along the baseline. Really methodical approach for Fudd, a player who has been so pivotal to what UConn has done and demonstrated this season. And
remember last year, she was the most outstanding player of the Final Four. Almost another turnover. Tennessee is really having fits on this end. And a block by Williams. And then a missed shot by Paldo, but she gets it back. In the corner, Jada Sybil in and out. Nothing going right for the Lady Vols. Here comes KK Arnold. Inside, off the glass, no, but a foul on Nia Robertson.
And despite the foul by Robertson, overall for Tennessee, I do like the way they got back in their transition defense, and that's going to be an important aspect for them. So talk about settling in. The thing about how fast the Volunteers want to play is that that's a speed that the Huskies can play at as well. So you've got to be very conscious of when a shot goes up or if there is a turnover, the get-back game of that transition deep.
Arnold, 74% shooter, but off on the first. Tennessee also had to battle some issues getting here yesterday. There was snow in Knoxville, so their flight, they were supposed to get in around noon, and practice here they did not. They got in around 8:30, and the first time they walked in the gym was 10:30 this morning.
And those are the type of things that you try and turn that into just a point of energy and a point of focus, attention to detail, knowing that you got to have a level of resiliency sometimes, especially I know everyone's dealing with it across the country with some of this weather and some of the travel issues, but certainly not an easy situation to step into when you're trying to prepare yourself for one of the bigger games of your season.
Yeah, and Kim Caldwell said, look, we're certainly not going to use that as an excuse. Everybody has to deal with that stuff, but not ideal for the Vols, and certainly not off to an ideal start right now. Janiah Barker driving and scoring the first points for Tennessee.
Big, strong take by Janiah Barker. You love to see that. She came over from UCLA, and she's a player that can get downhill and use her size.
Baseline jumper, and that one does not drop for Shade. And Shade going for the steal, but Barker able to avoid it. Other thing about Coach Caldwell in Tennessee is they've got 4 or 5 players now ready to come in. She will substitute a ton, a lot of depth for both of these teams as Barker will get to the free throw line.
So this is a part of Tennessee, how they play, almost like a hockey line change, but they'll just continue to bring in, whether it's 4 or 5 players at a time. It allows them to play at the highest of levels of speed, of pace. Three-point shooting, we know, is going to be at a high volume, but also the type of pressure they want to put on defensively. The tough part is that for a team like UConn, when they're making shots, how they're playing at that pace. For Tennessee, finding places and ways to disrupt them, you got to make baskets yourself as well to be able to put on that pressure.
I think you called it right, Sarah. It's a hockey line change, and you will see that consistently today from Kim Caldwell. Barker can't get the second. Spearman, though, offensive rebound, but she has it stripped. Arnold pushes. Shot fake into an 18-footer is pure for Ashlyn Shade.
Quick push, early offense.
And then Shade almost had the steal, but her foot was out of bounds. And Tennessee normally so good at speeding others up, Sarah, but they really feel sped up right now.
Well, in the tough way is that UConn plays defensively in the same way that Tennessee wants to play. Look at these numbers. First in the country in the opponent points per game, the 3rd in steals, 5th in opponent field goal percentage. They will come at you in every single position. Excellent individual defenders, and collectively they are on a string.
Tennessee already 3 turnovers and 6 points for UConn off of those turnovers. Spinning in the lane, Wild with a left hand that time, miss for Paul. AZ Fudd curls it around to Arnold and knocking it out of bounds. Here's Kanaya Boyd.
And good help there by Boyd. That last set, though, for Tennessee, they try and go 5 out, opportunity to operate in isolation with one-on-one sets, and that circles back again to where UConn has very good individual defenders as well, so it's hard to break through.
Rare bad miss for Ashlyn Shade off the side of the backboard.
Opportunity for the Vols.
And here's Physicality Cooper. We haven't even called her name yet, but she is a very talented scorer. She has it stripped by Arnold. Up ahead, Heckel missed it. Off of Tennessee. Well, Tennessee is going to have to get several players going, but I mentioned Physicality Cooper. She's kind of the head of the snake at times for Kim Caldwell.
Very much so. And for Physicality Cooper, a big part of it, too, is what she can do on this defensive side of things, where she ranks in the SEC in steals per game.
Oh. But on the other end, Sarah Strong with her first triple of the afternoon. Able to beat the press. They've got a 3-on-2. Janiah Paul and AZ Fudd. Clean defense taking.
The call has been overturned. It is white ball to end line. UConn keeps their timeout.
So UConn already up 10, and now they have the basketball here with just inside of 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Racing it up, Kaylee Heckel. In the lane, and yes, she dragged that pivot foot and traveled.
And a nice shot stepping up there by Tennessee. Opportunity for Tennessee to actually put on their full court pressure and what they can do in their defense, which also their half-court defense is an area that Coach Caldwell feels like has been improving, but it is about getting yourselves opportunities to have that set.
Barker downtown, off the mark. Tennessee takes a ton of threes. They hit a ton, but they also only shoot them at around 30%. You have to think they're going to have to hit quite a few to stay in this ball game today. A triple on the other end. That one drops down for Flau'jae.
And the other thing is defending the three-point line from UConn. So far today, they have been perfect, and that's an area they're second in the country in their efficiency.
When Barker is firing, she's taken 3 triples. Unfortunately for Tennessee, missed them all. And here's Sarah Strong, matched up against Barker. Well, two-man game. What a play as Heckel feeds Strong.
Beautiful passing.
18-3 out of the gate here. Circus shot, but the freshman Flau'jae gets it to go.
And Flau'jae was tough. And her start as a freshman, especially through the course of December and January, she's really come on. She's been a pivotal piece.
Oh, man. AZ Fudd. UConn just on fire.
They're on fire, but for them, this almost feels like the norm. And this is a standard that's been set this season of how they've been playing so effectively.
Long-range bomb and an answer from Nia Robertson, so both sides settling in.
You love to see that.
Nia Robertson over 1,500 career points, first and final year at Tennessee. And now the Vols get it back. Nifty dribbling from Sybil. Down the lane. And Jada Sybil will draw the foul on Sarah Strong.
Nice hard attack by Sybil, and that's a big part of what she's been able to do at a tough game against Mississippi State. But the ability to push, and again for Tennessee, if you can find ways to get stops, easier said than done. You can flow into that offense. You can dictate more of the tempo of how you want to play as we see these substitutions taking place again. The other challenge for the Volunteers, a big part of their success in so many areas, is wearing teams down with their depth. Well, on the flip side of things, UConn has a ton of depth this season, and that has been a huge strength of their play.
Yeah, so many people talk about the Vols' depth. I think for Gino Auriemma, of his 41 years there, this is one of the deepest teams he's ever had.
No question. And you're not just talking about the skill and the talent. You even look at past years, and in particular the last few years, it's not that they haven't had the wealth of players, it's just they've dealt with so many injuries, and they've been shorthanded in so many cases. And you give them credit in the success they've had in these previous seasons because of that resiliency of shoring up the gaps. But now that they're fully loaded, they're showcasing exactly how dominant they can be.
And again, today, if you're just tuning in, they are without freshman star Blanca Quinones, but it has not bothered UConn to this point. Here's Ali Zabel. She had 34 points last game. She gives it up. Strong can't hit. Offensive rebound, though, by Sarah Williams. Williams trying to slip it in. Dangerous pass. Loose ball. Tennessee comes away with it. Here's Phau'jae Cooper. She still has not scored. And she throws it away.
Boyd is down. Her extra effort play. She's not gotten a chance to be back up, and hopefully she's okay.
Yeah, Kenia Boyd, sophomore from Las Vegas. She had a knee injury her senior year in high school, and you just hope that that's not what is bothering her here.
Well, she was hustling for that ball. She's the one who helped Tennessee come up with that initial turnover, but once she hit the ground, she did not get back up when possession went to UConn's end. Or Tennessee's end, I should say. So watch her right there on the left side of your screen. Hustles for that play, gets it ahead to her teammate, but from there she remains on the floor. You can tell she's in some pain. Yeah, and it is.
It's like it might be that right knee. So Boyd sits, and Tennessee presses on, down 13. Paldo, the freshman, kick to the corner. There's Cooper, and Flau'jae Cooper is in the scoring column.
You were talking about her. Flau'jae Cooper has been such a huge part of this team, coming off that 19-point game against Mississippi State. Her efficiency not incredibly high from three, but similar to, as you have mentioned, about Tennessee, will shoot at a high volume, and she's been excellent on the defensive end, helping to fuel the Volunteers.
Now they force UConn into their 4th turnover. I feel like at least for Tennessee, since that first media timeout, they've settled in a little bit here. Barker, a little bully ball right to the rim. Remember for Janiah Barker, UCLA last year lost to this UConn team in the Final Four. But the Huskies, for the first time, a little careless with the basketball.
And you're seeing some of that swagger come in for this Tennessee team. And at times we talked about their travel issues and just getting yourself settled in, taking in the environment. It's white out here at the arena, and the fans have been live and they've been bringing a sense of energy. And also I think sometimes it takes a second to settle into what that environment feels like.
Now there's 16,000 here, and it's a true sellout. KK Arnold has been all over the place defensively. And she traveled it. Baldo was right there, and she dragged her pivot foot, did Arnold. That's 4 turnovers in the last 5 possessions for UConn, Sarah.
A big part of that has been this Tennessee defense. They're putting pressure on the basketball. In some ways, the pace has slowed down some in a cadence that allows them to be a bit more effective.
A 10-2 run for the Vols over the last 2+ minutes. Barker against Strong to the corner. Open 3. Spearman. Tapped back to Spearman. And she puts it home. 7-0 run. Down to 6 points now. And Shade has it knocked away. Paldo with some nifty ball handling. And stripped off of her leg, though, back to the Huskies.
Nonetheless, though, there's some good vibe and energy here by Tennessee as they're really feeling their way on the defensive side, but also offensively. Had a balance. Kim Caldwell has got to like what she's seeing out of the confidence and connectivity of her players.
She said after that loss to Mississippi State Thursday at home, I feel like I did not recognize my team, but this team in the last few minutes looks like the Lady Vols she's grown accustomed to. Heckel with a drive and finish on Paldo.
Tough tag. Wide open side there on the right, and she gets a step.
Shot clock off, final seconds of the first quarter. Talaysia Cooper gives it up. Spearman, high arcing, and she got it.
Half court when they are trying to execute their half court offense, half court defense, and those are areas that they've begun to evolve. But right now, she's got to appreciate just the way that they have settled in, and they are playing with a level of confidence. It's all, though, about taking care of the basketball and creating quality looks, whether they go in or not.
Kim Caldwell took them to the Sweet 16 last year in her first season. They're 15th in the country right now. Robertson drives and draws a foul on Ashlyn Shade, and that's 2 on Shade.
And again, there's a good opportunity to balance for as much as we're talking about the three-point looks that Tennessee will put up. They can also attack and get downhill, and you need that type of variance against a UConn defense that will cover you in every position. They shrink the floor, and they do such a great job of pressuring the ball, getting in denial. So finding some of those lanes will help them to at least be able to pack in the paint a little bit more to open up your three-point line.
I think it's a good point, sir, because Kim Caldwell, with her style, she recruits athletes. They have athletes at every position, so not falling in love with the three ball and penetrating, that can be effective for them.
And I also think just getting your rhythm on your shooting, and especially from the three-point line at a very high pace, that's much easier said than done. So an open three-point look, in some ways you feel a little bit sped up, and you've got to get accustomed to that.
Remember, UConn jumped out to a 21-5 lead. What a finish there from Sarah Strong to put the Huskies back up 6 here. Paldo finding Cooper. Steps into a 3 and knocks it down, and all of a sudden we've got a one-possession ball game.
This is a good back and forth. This is what we were anticipating, the number 1 team in the country, number 15 in Tennessee. And these are tests for both of these teams that they're up for.
Corner 3, and that rolls off for Shade. And for UConn, they've been blitzing everybody in Big East play, so it's different for them to step out and face a top 15 team here.
And you imagine, though, they are craving that.
AZ Fudd, offensive rebound. Heckel is able to save it. Fudd again, yes!
She misses the first. It's hard to think she's going to miss the second. So efficient, and for UConn, a big part of their scoring, it's not only been points off turnovers, but second chance opportunities.
And a mid-range jumper for Janiah Barker on the other end. But on this side, AZ Fudd with it. She's already got 13. Knocked out, Tennessee basketball. Really impressed with the response of the Vols after getting down 16 early.
There is a good amount of just moxie and grit that you see out of these players, both individually, starts at the top. We've mentioned with this coaching staff, and again, I think through the course of the SEC season, what they've built, how they've come out and played, beginning that conference play 6-0, and prior to that loss to Mississippi State, they had beaten number 21 Alabama, number 11 Kentucky. They have seen some really tough competition.
Top 20 in the net as well. Driving inside, Spearman. Battle for the board. Latham down to the ground. Travel. Instead of a tie-up, we're going to say that she was rolling around and walked with it.
And I do think that's the right call. You could see that in her movements and where things were at.
15 combined turnovers. It's kind of what we thought might happen with these two teams.
So you see the hustle, and appreciate her getting on the ground, but here at this point, she's really the only one with possession of the ball.
Sarah Williams, backdoor cut, and a wide open Ashlyn Shea.
Beautiful play. Tennessee's got to be better at that. They just lost track of Shea coming around off that back screen. It's a nicely run play by UConn.
Gino Auriemma trusting Shea to stay out there with 2 fouls. Coming over, that is definitely a foul on Sarah Williams, and that's now 2 on Williams.
But on this offensive play, take a look at this. Just an excellent job of Shea coming off this back screen by Sarah Strong. And I think there was a confusion on Tennessee whether they were switching or staying and helping. Easy look for Shade. And as you mentioned, the second foul for Sarah Williams. And glad to see her, though, back on the floor. She missed the last game against Xavier with a right ankle injury, and she's been such a big piece for this team after coming over from Wisconsin and just adapting to a different role, a different way in which she kind of fits the offensive system, what's needed out of her for this UConn team, but she's continued to get used to that, grow into that, and of course you see her presence on the defensive side and how that size and blocking ability has been such a huge asset for the Huskies.
Yeah, and Williams, 22 and white, even more important today with the absence of Blanca Quiñones with that shoulder issue. Strong to the corner to grab the miss. Up ahead, there is Williams. Kicking it out. Boy, they're passing so crisp. High-low feed, Williams, yes, and the foul. What a sequence for the #1 team of the nation.
The balance, the spacing, the awareness, there is a quickness with how they move the ball. We talk a lot about pace, and take a look at this, just getting it right inside, quick with the fill. Paldo was down there at the help line, and not a whole lot she can do. She felt like Williams had gotten her as well, a little bit of both, but that's where the challenge becomes. There's so many different areas on the floor that UConn can attack you from.
Huskies by 7, just inside of 7 remaining in the half. They lead Barker, and Barker buries a triple. She's got 10. They were daring Barker to take that shot. She was 0 of 3 from downtown before hitting that one.
And she can knock them in. She shoots at 32% from 3. That's a part of her game that she's added to here at Tennessee. But she won't make them if you leave her open.
Stepping on the baseline. Turnover back to Tennessee.
And for UConn, this is a game plan discipline. You said it, the knowing your personnel, this is an area of the floor that they'd rather see her take a 3 than be penetrating in the paint. She calmly steps into that one, gives us a kiss to the crowd, and she's obviously had a couple stops and a really impressive career to this point, and hoping to continue that here this season at Tennessee.
A couple of years at Texas A&M, and last year, as we mentioned, at UCLA losing to UConn in the Final Four, but over 100 career games, over 1,100 career points. She's a good one. Spearman to Barker. Barker, step back three, once another one, and left that short.
That would be an opportunity, though. I would love to see her attack Shade off that possession.
They get the turnover. Arnold a little out of control. Arnold gets it back. Strips Phau'jae Cooper, but cannot get the finish. Arnold wanted a foul, no whistle. Tennessee has numbers. Cooper from the wing. And it caroms out of bounds and belongs to UConn. Three of 10 outside the arc for Tennessee. Again, they put up about as many threes as anybody in the country.
And that's a big part of it. And so much of what they can do comes down to the possession game. And you look at the green light that they have, and there's a level of comfort in it. But there also needs to be a balance when you're playing a team like UConn, because that quick shooting three-point shots, if you're not making them, could lead to a lot of runs.
Strong with a blow by.
Yeah, she's just so tough. And she does not get sped up. She's methodical and surgical with how she reads and looks at attacking her defense.
Leads the Big East in scoring at 19 a game. She's got 9 right now to Strong. Jada Sybil gets to the line.
Credit to UConn's defense, but their ability to be able to handle some of that pressure has been a big part of how they were able to eliminate what that deficit looked like.
UConn has not had a close game midway through the second quarter in a long time, because again, they have just been winning by so much in Big East play. But right now the lead is 5.
And I think for a team that is as excellent as they are and how they've commanded the start of the season, they probably in many ways appreciate this idea of a challenge and testing themselves.
To Mark, rebound to Cooper. I think Gino Orienta probably appreciates a little bit more of a test than what they've had lately. I mean, they won 97-39 last game against Xavier, and now Sybil makes it a 2-point game.
That was a deep shot. Appreciates it. I'm sure he's got a lot of things that he's ready to say to his team.
Well, yeah.
The halftime locker room.
He would still like to win by 30, but he knows when you get deep in the NCAA tournament.
And this is the value of it. For both these teams, for all these teams, other reasons why you play these games, and also the fun of a non-conference game to shape things up.
And this one taken away by Spearman. A chance for Tennessee to tie or take the lead. Sybil just hit one. Closest it has been since it was 2-0. Paldo, smallest player on the floor, but so feisty and crafty. Cooper! It's Tennessee and UConn. KK Arnold. They're going to have to get it across quickly, and they do. Three-pointer for the wing. Knocked down with Strong, but no whistle. Tennessee trying to get their first lead of the game. Spearman gives it to him. 38-36 ball.
Defense to offense. Tennessee showcasing that length and quickness and how they're covering ground at this end of the floor.
Inside, Williams, no. And a frustrated UConn team.
Well, think about the last time they've gotten a clean look and a clean possession on the offensive side. There has not been many.
Crowd has been mostly quiet, especially since the first 5 minutes. What a reverse. What a pass from Cooper to Spearman. And it's a 10-0 run for the Vols. Arnold steps through the double team.
And Williams loses track along the baseline. And there's a beautiful just backdoor cut and feed. The movement by Latham. Everyone is really in sync here for Tennessee and how they're continuing to space and balance this floor. Give a lot of credit to Z Spearman. She's been a huge part of it in what she's done offensively, but also defensively in utilizing that length to get her hand on a lot of basketballs.
On the other end, Sarah Strong, the likely National Player of the Year. Certainly if the season ended today, she would be. And she knocks down the first.
Well, and she was strong on that attack, and you could tell that was a situation where she realized that she's going to start a little bit of takeover time here because she can score at all 3 levels. She probably thought she should have got a foul called on that 3-point miss.
Alyssa Latham spinning and hitting. Tennessee right now, they're on a different level.
And a big part of it looks like the confidence. They got a bounce in their step. They're playing with energy and enthusiasm.
First time UConn has trailed in the second quarter all year. And they got a chance for Tennessee to add to the lead. Phau'jae Cooper with the left. Boy, she got there, just couldn't finish it.
Did all the hard work.
Racing the other way, Kelly Heckel. Bud was hot early, but she's been hot and quiet as of late. Here she is, quick release. Good ball. An offensive rebound. They're going to whistle that against Denala Prawl of Tennessee.
And this is what you don't see often with UConn. Tennessee is speeding them up. That's how they want to play defensively. Normally the Huskies are very comfortable in how they continue to pass the basketball and finding the open teammates. It's the length and the athleticism of Tennessee that feels like they're disrupting them here on this offensive side, where they have not gotten to the places and spaces on the floor where they can be effective.
Sarah Strong pulls up from just inside the arc, but can't get the bounce. Sybil rips it down, races ahead. Paldo. Yard free. It was Fun that knocked it loose. Strong up ahead to Heckel.
That is a big play for UConn. Feel a little bit of the momentum coming back their way.
And Paldo can't connect. Rebound for Jana El Alfie, and then she is tied up. Lauren Hurst getting a hand on it. The arrow will give it to UConn.
And this basket feels much needed and pivotal for the Huskies, starting with defense. We saw a lot of that early in this game. The quick get ahead by Strong to Heckel. They haven't gotten a lot of easy looks, and quite frankly, a lot of open looks. And sometimes you just need to break things up and see one go through. We'll see how this changes and dictates what happens here in this final less than a minute and a half.
They did not call that a tie-up, by the way. It was a foul on Lauren Hurst. Either way, UConn ball. Fudd trying to tie it. She does. What a first half. Phau'jae Cooper inside of 30 seconds. Just about a 1 second difference shot and game clock here. Paldo, the freshman, top 10 recruit, McDonald's All-American, is going to set the table. Gives it back to Cooper. It's Paldo from downtown. No. Rebound of UConn. Three-quarter court heave, short. And what a first half here in Hartford. 42-all between down the stretch. We talked about it earlier, but in men's college basketball, each team gets a challenge, and if they get that right, they get another. Well, in women's college basketball, they're called appeals, and they're unlimited. So that could be a factor if we have a lot of close calls late in this ball game. 42-all here in front of a sellout crowd of 16,000 in Hartford. Down inside, they go right to Sarah Strong. She kicks to the corner. And then it's Williams from 7 feet to put UConn on top.
Nice set, good actions, and good movement. And for UConn, that's where they become so good at finding areas on the floor that they can have open teammates because of their passing.
And Barker has it taken away. And then Ashlyn Shade almost coughed it right back up. Strong to Arnold. Arnold, best assist to turnover ratio in the country, but she was a little rattled in that first half. And Fudd with a wild shot. Jada Sybil to Spearman, and Spearman continues to have a good game. She's in double figures with 10.
Spearman's getting downhill. A big part of it has been in the open court and in transition, but she's finding her way around the basket. Remember, too, that UConn's playing without Blanca Quinones, and she has been such an important part of this UConn team this season. And also a player that, with her size, quickness, athleticism, ability to get at you at both ends, is such a fit for the style that Tennessee plays. So not having her on the floor for as much as we're talking about the depth of UConn and being healthy. She's a big miss here today, and their Spearman, we had mentioned, I mean, she is just getting to the basket, straight line drives, using that type of length that she brings to the table.
And Spearman, she had the game-clinching bucket last year when Tennessee upset UConn in Knoxville. She's having a tremendous game today. Denia Paul to the floor as she puts it off the window for two.
And finishing through contact right at the body of Williams, and she stays poised and controlled. Tennessee came out confident here in that second quarter, and they just carried it over.
Yeah, it looks like a different team in the first 5 minutes of the game. A strong take from Sarah Strong.
Strong is a player that you're going to need to rely on to stay steady in these moments. Look at that force. Beats her own defender. Speaking of embracing some contact, does just that. Understands the level of physicality, how to create an angle for herself. That's a beautiful finish by Sarah Strong. And it's amazing, too, because you know she's going to keep getting going in this game. In fact, she already has 13 points. She's shooting that efficiency. She does it sometimes just so methodically and quietly. And that's where she's had an amazing season following up on that incredible rookie year.
Here's Spearman again. She is fearless. See, Spearman is just driving it relentlessly at the basket. Arnold flips it ahead. Strong. Knocked down. Who else? See, Spearman. Fudd from the elbow. Nothing but net.
Nice shot fake. And Izzy Fudd, for as much as she's got efficiency all over the field, the mid-range game is where she thrives because she can get to her spots with such an ease and concise in her movements and in her steps.
Izzy Fudd leads all scorers with 17. A lot of those came early when UConn jumped out in front by 16 points.
They've been making sure to keep the ball out of her hands as much as possible. They are keying in on her looks.
Ball trying to get to her spot. Spearman, this time for deep. Did that hit the rim? They're going to say no and rule it a shot clock violation. Hockey line change, so Spearman and her other 4 teammates to the bench.
Well, Z Spearman made her time felt while on the floor, especially in her ability to get to the cup. But Izzy Fudd with the answer at the other end. And seen a good back and forth between both of these teams. You've got to love it. High efficiency. So much, though, begins at the defensive side for both UConn and Tennessee.
Both near the top of the nation in turnovers forced, and we have seen that pressure today. That was a great set, and AZ Fudd now has 19.
What a beautiful pass. AZ Fudd getting top lock because they're worried about her shooting, and an open backside gives her a clean layup.
Isn't this fun? I mean, the pace, the high-level play.
High-level play. And you see that from both sides, and you see it on both sides of the floor with how good these teams are, both offensively and defensively.
Well, the floor is just littered with McDonald's All-Americans. Just such tremendous athletes out there.
And how do you like this? So see, coming over the top, you're worried about her shooting in that handoff, and AZ Fudd with a clean look from the back. This is a beautiful set, 5 out, nice pass by Sarah Williams to Fudd, and that's where you can come at you because they've got such versatile players, optionality in their lineups, and how they can space you out and balance the floor.
And that bucket put her at 1,400 career points, something that 36 Huskies have now done. She becomes the 36th as AZ Fudd. This time she finds her friend, Sarah Strong from downtown.
Watch out. Tennessee went to a zone look off of that out of bounds under, and UConn can't give them that much space.
A quick 7-0 run for the #1 team in the land. Spearman blocked by Williams. Strong with 3 balls around her, throws it away. Latham. And then who gets it back? AZ Fudd. My goodness. Everything is so frenetic. Open 3 for Shade. It's a 10-0.
Almost right there to 50-40-90 season. That's such a characteristic of who she is as a basketball player.
A player who's overcome a lot, dealt with a lot of injuries her first 3 seasons on campus, but now as a 5th-year senior, healthy and playing tremendous. Paldo straight on. Yes, and boy, did Tennessee need that.
Mia Paldo, just a freshman, but you would not know it in her ability to just remain confident. She's had timely buckets throughout the course of this year.
They dodged the bullet to Tennessee. That time Fudd with a great look. But yeah, Mia Paldo, she's always the smallest on the floor, but her coach Kim Caldwell says there's a lot of bulldog in her. She is fearless. Pass inside to Spearman. What a feed that was by Barker.
That was a beautiful feed. She collapses the defense, forces some help.
And then Barker coming, running over into our scores table over here. Saving the possession. And then she gets the three-pointer up and off the mark.
But this is this is a full court pressure you get even off of a miss.
Boy, Barker has been so disruptive, but out of all of that, it's a chance at an and one for Sarah Strong.
Second year, Gino Auriemma, just what he's put together of this UConn Huskies program in his 41st season, and it's a tremendous historical stage for these players, but the foundation that was built by both of these programs and the players that came before.
And you can't have this game take place without thinking of Pat Summitt, how tremendous she was winning those 8 titles at Tennessee. Latham inside, missed it, got it back, missed it again. And then she rips it down, and ultimately they're going to say it's a tie-up. It does stay with Tennessee.
A good collapse by UConn on Latham, because Latham had the size. She did a good job keeping it up high, just couldn't get the finish off of those extra opportunities. But yeah, the legend, Pat Summitt, this game would not be what it is, where it is today without her.
And this time they're going to get a foul on Heckel. Some boos rain down here in Hartford. Crowd maybe a little biased for the home team.
Maybe a little. There are a lot of white t-shirts and sweatshirts in the stands. Tough to say off that, but may have gotten her across the forearms there if she was trying to reach in for the steal.
Paldo with a driving kick. Latham, way too much. Sarah Strong lost it, dives back after it, and somehow gets it to Heckel. Heckel for Shea. And Latham high for the rebound. Paldo Euro step, around the arc it goes. Way in the air and almost dropped down. And eventually a rebound to Kaylee Heckel. Boy, but nothing is coming easy on either side. 2 bodies on the deck in the backcourt. Meanwhile, up ahead, Williams lays it in.
They look right here to make sure Spearman's okay. Sarah Strong even checking on her. She went down hard.
I think Strong kind of caught her with a shoulder, and Spearman fell hard.
Well, let's take a look, because UConn trying to break this pressure of Tennessee, and watch right here. You see Heckel goes down, AZ Fudd going for the ball, and yeah, that's where Strong gets Spearman there in the shoulder. This is so impressive. There's been a frenetic pace. There clearly is a ton of pressure, intentional pressure by both sides, but there's also a composure, and these teams have done a nice job in how they've been trying to be clinical and breaking this type of full court pressure, what both teams are doing off makes or misses. That is so challenging to keep up.
It has been the high-level game we expected it to be. And more physicality. Time it was Heckel who's going to be called for the foul again. She's now got 2 today.
A little bit of a scary play, too, getting underneath the body of Barker. Yeah, this is very much a foul. Kind of cleans up, stops her momentum as she comes over her.
Thankfully, Barker's okay. Talaysia Cooper. And they'll reset up top with Robertson. Tennessee's missed their last 6 shots. Down 9. Barker. No. 7 straight misses for the ball. Heckel does it herself, coast to coast.
What a screen by Sarah Williams. She's the one who freed up that lane. And a great job by Heckel on the take coast to coast.
7-0 run. And Tennessee can't stop it. Heckel again. Euro step. Kelly Heckel making it a 9-0 run. And UConn women loss was to this Tennessee team in Knoxville last February 6th. Paldo way outside the arc. Offensive rebound, Spearman. I feel like Vols could really use a bucket right here. Sybil off balance. Latham gets the board back. They missed 10 straight shots at Tennessee. And knocked out 11 to shoot for the Lady Vols.
An excellent job by Tennessee in their attack on the offensive glass. That's a big part of what they do. They average nearly 17 boards per game, but it's tough to always crash because of how much UConn runs and leaks out. So you got to be very intelligent about when you're looking to get in.
6 different hands on the basketball, and it belongs to the Huskies. Sarah, I know it's easier said than done, but what can Tennessee do right now to stop the bleeding?
Well, a big part of it continues to be this pressure, and that's what they did in the second quarter and turning UConn over and making more of their shots in the half court. Tough contested looks. UConn has created and generated more quality looks here in this entire quarter, and it's also been helped by their own defense in forcing all those misses by Tennessee.
What a feed and a finish. Fudd finding Williams. It's now an 11-0 run.
That was a dart right on the spot. Beautiful feed, and you said it, to find her through the entirety of that Tennessee defense.
Bit of a danger zone right now for the visiting Vols. Prawl with 7 to shoot. Denia Prawl. Pivots, kicks, Paldo. Got to put it up. Blocked! Strong with a rejection. Final 10 seconds of the third. Open 3 for Zabel.
Dominance on both ends of the floor. Offensively, through the roof in their efficiency, their effectiveness, their amount of balance they have, but defensively is where they come after you and how they can turn you over, disrupt you, and create so much offense out of their defense.
Barker, Tennessee had to have something positive. And Denia Barker knocks down the 3.
Big sign. That third quarter, that's where the killer was for that Tennessee team. The fact that they were 1 of 7 from 3, just 5 of 19 from the field. And it always goes hand in hand, but in particular in playing UConn, you got to see some and get some to go through to at least give yourself more of a chance here, not always back on your heels defensively.
They had gone 5 minutes without a field goal at Tennessee before that Barker triple. Now can they start to get stops on this end? $20 points so far for Sarah Strong today. She's just going to pull from deep. Almost tapped back by Williams. And we have seen so many players on the deck. They're going to call a travel there on Denia Prawl.
And for Tennessee, it's been a struggle in terms of just the possession game and taking care of the basketball. Their 15th turnover for UConn. That's 24 points off those turnovers. They can't have that many easy baskets to go along with how effective they can execute in the half court.
And on the other side, just 6 points for Tennessee off of UConn's turnovers. Sarah Williams got a pretty good look in the lane. Latham. No. And Strong, so good off the dribble. Good at everything, really. Finding Fudd. Long rebound and a reset. Think about Sarah Strong, too. Is you feel like she could go for 40 a game, but she's such a good teammate and deferential at times. And like there, nice feed to Allie Zabel.
What a cut by Zabel. Everyone on the high side, so it left The back door and the ability to operate in the paint wide open for the Zabel cut. Yes, beautiful pass by Strong. And Gino Oriel probably at times is saying it's okay if you're a little more aggressive looking for your own.
I feel like in the second quarter he did say that to her because there was a stretch there where she took over. She's defending here and getting the rebound. She pushes. Allie Zabel. Sarah mentioned 34 points last time for Zabel. She hit 10 threes, tying a program record in that win against Xavier. She gives it up to Strong with 12 to shoot. Strong off the bounce, drops it off. And Williams is fouled by Prawl.
That's a beautiful take, though, by Sarah Strong, because she engages into defenders, allows for that drop pass of Williams there sitting in the dunker spot. And again, though, it's a challenge for any defense to be able to cover both the inside and the way that UConn can penetrate, can get you in the paint, but also with their three-point shooters that you have to stay in some ways attached to along the perimeter. It's what opened things up. Tennessee, an excellent second quarter and into the third because they have a lot of length, quickness. They were able to cover ground and make sure that those passes and shots were a little bit more contested. But for UConn has been an area where they just figured it out, closing out that third quarter, and now here over the fourth.
And a big piece of their puzzle this year is Sarah Williams. Those 3 years at Wisconsin, she was tremendous. Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year a couple of seasons ago. A little bit of a different role at UConn, not scoring as much, but she's had a solid game here today.
Well, and there's an understanding to that. And yeah, at Wisconsin, they just played through Williams, and a big part of that was back to the basket, the face-up, how much she caught it through the block, and what she was able to do and operate inside.
She's going to get the foul here, third on Sarah Williams. But I think you understand, whether you're Sarah Williams or anybody that transfers Kaylee Heckel into this UConn program, when you're used to being the focal point of an offense, you come to UConn, it's probably going to be a little bit different when you're playing for Gino Oriel.
No question, and it's also just a big part of how UConn plays and the understanding of when you have that type of talent, that balance, that force on the floor, needing to do it at both ends of the floor. But it opens up opportunities. In any given game, we've seen all of these players go off or have big numbers because it is about their reads of the defense. They're a highly sophisticated offense, too, and that's what also makes it so challenging. It's not just it's how they play with one another, their actions, their reads, the nuances and wrinkles of what they can run in each set.
Sarah Strong is getting a breather right now because of the depth. They don't have a player averaging over 27 minutes a game, UConn, and a lot of that also because they've been winning by so much in these games.
The way the scores look by the fourth quarter.
But they've been tested for most of this ball game. Fudd. 3 more for AZ Fudd. She's got 22.
Yeah, pretty looking shot. And that, I mean, not to make light of it, but this is a 21-point lead in what has been an excellent competitive game. You're tied at halftime, but it's just those quick minutes that UConn can just open things up.
And they continue to open it up. It's now 80 to 57. Robertson splashes it down from the top of the arc. KK Arnold, so methodical, up ahead. Shade outside to Zabel. Long rebound, Denia Prawl. Euro step with the left. And tapped out to AZ Fudd, and they push. Dangerous pass, knocked out, and they'll say Tennessee basketball.
Tennessee, we see this line change again. And again, for Tennessee, we mentioned a tie ball game at the half. This is the type of things UConn can do with their play, both defensively and offensively. But for the Lady Vols, they had their first SEC loss against that Mississippi State team. Otherwise, started the SEC season 6-0. Their preseason ranking by the SEC was number 5. They had played really well this year.
And Fudd flashing her defense against Cooper, and she continues to dominate as AZ Fudd.
And she is smothering.
She almost got another steal. Flau'jae Cooper of Tennessee has really been disrupted today by this UConn defense. Pretty quiet, 8 points, 3 of 5. Shot clock dwindling. Paldo has to put this up. And it's a shot clock violation. Didn't get it off. She might have traveled before the shot as well.
What a possession. And there, KK Arnold, the one-on-one defense. The previous possession we saw with AZ Fudd bottling up and forcing a turnover there at the half-court line. I said this earlier, but it's about excellent individual defenders and collectively how good they move on a string together.
Easy bucket at the rim for Sarah Strong. Folks, it was 42-42 at intermission, and it has just been all UConn since the break. And a careless Tennessee turnover sends us to our... What an incredible combo they are, and they've got UConn up 24 right now. With a win here, the Huskies get to 23-0. The closest game they've had against Michigan earlier, they won by 3, but right now, the rout is on. Now it's careless, Denia Prawl.
And we've seen a couple careless turnovers here these last few minutes by Tennessee. And it can be deflating.
Yes.
You look at something like this. At this moment in the game, the emotions that go with it, especially given how far they fought back out of that early hole.
Well, knowing the competitor Kim Caldwell is, I don't think she's going to take any moral victories away from this. Now they open it up to 30. But there was a good stretch of this game where I think we saw what Tennessee is capable of. And
that's what it comes down to, and things you pull from it. And things you pull from it is you still got a lot of season left.
And like you said, they're 6-1 in SEC play. They're top 15 in the country. So Tennessee, it's not like their season is ending today, but what UConn has done here in the second half has been downright impressive.
And in many cases, I think it's more of an indicator of just how good UConn is. And that's the level of, for as much as we talk about their depth and balance between Sarah Strong, AZ Fudd, that type of leadership and steadiness when things do get tight or tough.
They finally miss, but they get the offensive rebound. Another backdoor cut. They've been so good with that today. And free throws coming for...
To be able to sit and, you know, I work with a lot of individuals that are a part of a lot of those seasons, but in particular Swin Cash, Renee Montgomery, hearing them talk about that, what that feels like, putting that together game by game. And there is just a level of engagement and focus you see in this group every time they step on the floor, even from the way this game started, that continues to impress.
If you're tuning in late, it was 42-42 at the break. And it's been all about UConn since. Spearman kicks to the corner. Barker, yes. Tonight, Barker's had a pretty nice game, 16 for the native of Atlanta. And now a timeout is...
It is a challenge. Those two big wins we said were the prior two games. And so there are instances where when you're trying to shore up the gaps, those are what you look at as learning experiences through the course of the season. And this is another one you add to the list. And for Gino Auriemma, too, there's probably a lot of things he'll pull from this game, appreciate from this game, ways in which this team will continue to learn. But imagine very proud and impressed with their level of resiliency and how they adjusted things in that third quarter to make the score what it is.
Three-pointer from Robertson. And for UConn, meanwhile, this will be the last ranked team that they face as they get back into Big East play on Wednesday against your alma mater, DePaul.
The last time they saw DePaul, it was not pretty for the Blue Demons.
Well, nobody in the Big East has been able to hang with UConn this year. Do you have any eligibility left in these NIL days, Sarah? Maybe DePaul or UConn
stay right here with this headset on. I want no pie.
Rafael Paccioloni, her coach, trying to will her over the line. nicely up though. Takes care of business on her serve, Svitolina. Now she's going to try and do it on the Halos Maya serve.